Okay, I'm going to try to work a few of these out to kind of help you. Okay, number 15, for example. Okay, it gives you the long leg here, so to find the short leg, you take 4 times the square root of 3, and you divide by the square root of 3. The square root of 3 divided by the square root of 3, that cancels. So to find y, you're just left with 4. So y is equal to 4. And that's the short leg. And then to go from the short leg to the long leg, you multiply by 2. I'm sorry, to go from the short leg to the hypotenuse, you multiply by 2. X is our hypotenuse, so we take the short leg, it's 4, and multiply it by 2, and you get 8. So X is equal to 8. For number 16, this is a 45, 45, 90 triangle. We're looking for the 2 legs. We are given the hypotenuse. The hypotenuse is 2 times the square root of 2. So to find one of the legs, A, we take the hypotenuse, 2 times the square root of 2, and you divide it by the square root of 2. The square root of 2 of the square root of 2, that cancels. So you're left with just 2. So A is equal to 2, and B is equal to 2. 18, so 45, 45, 90. Once again, you're given the hypotenuse is 9. So to find N, and you might need to look back at your rules so you can follow along to help you. Take the hypotenuse 9, divide it by the square root of 2. You can't have a radical in the denominator, so you multiply by 1, which is the square root of 2, of the square root of 2. So this is equal to 9 times the square root of 2. And the square root of 2 times the square root of 2 is the square root of 4, which is just 2. So your answer for both legs is 9 root 2 over 2. Okay, number 20 is a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Across from the 30-degree angle is the shortest leg. It's the square root of 5. So to get y, we take a short leg, the square root of 5, and we multiply this by the square root of 3. So what's the square root of 5 times the square root of 3? Square root of 15. So y is equal to the square root of 15. And then to go from the short leg to the hypotenuse, you multiply by 2. So to get x, get a short leg, 5, multiply it by 2, so your answer is really just 2 times the square root of 5. Number 22, we start with a 45, 45, 90 and a 30, 60, 90 triangle. We want to find x, we want to find the hypotenuse as a 30, 60, 90, but we know no other sides on this triangle. So we have to start with the 45, 45, 90. We are given the hypotenuse. We need to find this leg. We'll call this y. And the way we find y is to go from the hypotenuse to a short leg. You take 6 times the square root of 2, and you divide by the square root of 2. So this is y is equal to 6. Okay, and then this, in the 30, 60, 90, is the short leg. So to go from the short leg to the hypotenuse, you multiply by 2. So to get x, which is the hypotenuse, you take 6, and you multiply by 2. So x is equal to 12. And that's your answer. I'm just going to skip around and do a few of these. Hopefully that will help. You can see some of the answers here. I've also uploaded the rest of the answers on my website under Pre-AP Geometry 2nd semester. So you can look there. Okay, on these 25 to 28, they're right triangles. So you're going to use trig to solve for the missing side. All of these have missing sides. We'll look at number 25 first. Let's see. We're given this angle of 27, and I want to find x. According to 27, x is the adjacent side. 12, the other side it's given, is the opposite side. And this is the hypotenuse. Do we want to know what the hypotenuse is, or do we know what the hypotenuse is? No, so we're not going to use that. So at this point, that's not really any use to us. So what uses adjacent and opposite? Remember? SOHCAHTOA. Adjacent and opposite and adjacent will be tangent. So you'd say the tangent, every time you write sine, cosine, or tangent, the angle comes next. So the tangent of 27 degrees is equal to opposite 12 over adjacent x. We're not looking for the angle, so we're going to cross multiply. 1 times 12 is 12. X times the tangent of 27 degrees. We still don't have x by itself, so I divide both sides by the tangent of 27 degrees. Okay, and you plug this into your calculator. You say 12 divided by the tangent 27. You close the parentheses, it's equal, and you should get 23.6. It says round to the nearest tenth. Okay, we'll look at number 28. Let's see, this time you have to look at what angle you're given. We're given 41 degrees here. We want to find x. X is our hypotenuse, and 13 is the opposite side. Okay, so sine, cosine, or tangent, what uses opposite and hypotenuse? That would be sine. Start up here. The sine, once again, the angle goes here, 41 degrees, is equal to opposite 13 over hypotenuse, which is x. Once again, our variables in the denominator, that makes it a little more difficult. You have that one extra step. So 1 times 13 is 13, and then we have x times the sine of 41. We need x by itself. Divide both sides by the sine of 41 degrees. My pen's giving me a little trouble here. So x, if you plug in 13 divided by sine of 41, you should get 19.8. It's approximately equal to 19.8. Okay, now for 31 through 36, you're trying to find the angles instead of the sides. You're still going to set it up the same way. So let's look at 32. This is the angle that we care about, and we're given two sides. This side is adjacent to the angle, and of course 33 is always the hypotenuse. Any side across from the right angle is always going to be the hypotenuse. It's also adjacent to the angle, but because it's a hypotenuse, we call it hypotenuse. So adjacent hypotenuse, that's cosine. So we can say the cosine, this is the angle. We often use theta. The cosine of theta, or angle, or x degrees, whatever you want to put, is equal to adjacent, which is 26, over 33, which is hypotenuse. Okay, when you're trying to find the angle, you use the inverse of cosine. So theta is equal to the inverse of cosine, 26 over 33. So you have to put this into your calculator differently. You have to do the inverse cosine, or second cosine, put in that fraction, and when you put that in, if you round to the nearest degree, you should get 38 degrees. Make sure you understand how to put that into your calculator. It's very important. Okay, let's look at 34. Once again, here's the angle that we care about. We can call that theta. We are given, according to this angle, this side 2 here would be opposite. And the side 4 here would be adjacent. So what uses opposite and adjacent? Tangent. The tangent of theta, angle always goes right after sine, cosine, or tangent. Opposite is 2 over adjacent, which is 4. Once again, you plug it into your calculator. Inverse of tangent, 2 over 4. You plug that in, you get 27 degrees. You round to the nearest degree. Okay, I know some of these word problems are probably going to be a little difficult for you. Let's do some of these. Okay, number 37. A person is standing 40 feet from a flagpole. Okay, so here's the flagpole. And they are standing 40 feet away from it, so and can see the top of the pole at a 35-degree angle. Okay, the person's eye level is 4 feet from the ground. So here's the person. Let's draw the person here. Okay, and they are 4 feet. Their eye level is 4 feet from the ground. Okay, so where they're looking from, it says the person can see the top of the pole at a 35-degree angle. So where they're looking from, they look straight across, and then they look up, and that's 35 degrees. Angle of elevation. And the person's eye level is 4 feet from the ground. What is the height of the flagpole to the nearest foot? Okay, so we're trying to find, we can find, this is a right triangle, we can find x, and then we're going to add in an extra 4 feet to get the height of the flagpole. So this is 40 feet also. Distance from the person to the flagpole. And this problem is a little different than the ones we've done in class. You're just adding 4 feet at the very end of your answer. So it does work out a little differently. Okay, if you have 35-degree angle here, this is opposite, this is adjacent, that's tangent. So you say the tangent of 35 degrees is equal to opposite x over adjacent, which is 40. Cross multiply, 1 times x is x, and you have 40 times the tangent of 35 degrees. So x is approximately equal to 28 feet. Around the nearest tenth, 28 feet. Okay, and then you add in, this is 28 feet. So you add an extra 4 feet to get the total height. So 28 plus 4 is equal to 32 feet. I hope that helps. Like I said, this one is a little, these problems are a little different than the ones we talked more about in class. Okay, let's look at number 38. Nova, Auburn's eagle, is perched 40 feet up in a tree. He looks down at a 35-degree angle and spots Big Owl. How far is Big Owl from Nova to the nearest tenth of a foot? Okay, so we have a tree. Oops. Okay, we have a tree. Ignore my drawings. Okay, we have eagle. Okay. Here's the beak. Good enough. Okay. If he looks straight across, okay, and then he looks down, and that's where he spots Big Owl. Elephant. We'll just do this. Okay, where he spots the owl at an angle of depression of 35 degrees. Because he's looking down, so it's angle of depression. And we know that he is 40 feet up in the tree. So let's do the different colors. This is 40 feet. Okay, the question is, how far okay, actually it says how far is he, so we're going to measure this distance, the hypotenuse. Okay, if this is 35 degrees, this is 35 degrees. The Big Owl's angle of elevation is 35 degrees, and Nova's angle of depression will be 35 degrees. So now we have 35 degrees, we have the 40 over here, we have the hypotenuse is x, and this is opposite. So we're going to use sine. The sine of 35 degrees is equal to opposite 40 over hypotenuse x. Cross multiply. X times the sine of 35 degrees is equal to 40. Divide both sides by the sine of 35. When you do 40 divided by the sine of 35, you should get 69.7 feet. Okay, number 40 is one we did for homework, so you can look at your notes on that. Think about the ones we had on the quiz last Wednesday and Thursday. Think about those that we talked about in class today. Study your notes, study homework, study classwork. I hope these few that I worked out helped just a little bit. And good luck with studying, and good luck on the test.